the white helmets. There are some fairly serious people saying the white helmets are, some kind of media front for Al-Qaeda or Al-Nusra.
Would you explain the white helmets for people?
Joe Rogan is stunned, to say the least. Anderson's explanation here is mind-blowing.
So when there's a bombing and a building collapses, they go in and drag people out and get them medical attention as quick as possible.
And people think that they're somehow or another involved in it? They're a front?
Yeah, and the footage is faked in order to drum up sympathy for the rebel-held areas. I mean, I've heard serious people say that.
Serious people?
Yeah, not loons on Facebook. I've heard
like journalists or
yeah. I mean Seymour Hersh I think has walked it back a little bit since, but he said that in the early days.
Listen to this. As you can see if you look at this image, many people do believe that they're working together and that the footage is faked. But if this is true, why would the white helmets be doing this? Rogan then asks Anderson why he thinks people believe this theory, and Anderson's response explains everything.
It's happened to a lot of journalists. Robert Fisk, Seymour Hersh, Martha Gellhorn, one of my favourite war correspondents of all time. I reread some of her stuff recently, and the first batch of war reporting she did, I think, is the best war reporting I've ever read. Spanish Civil War, Vietnam, and then she spent 25 years writing novels, and then later on wrote about, I believe it was the Yom Kippur War, and was denying that massacres had happened.
If so many investigative journalists believe these theories, maybe there's something to them. Take a look at this. There have been many theories over the years about crisis actors, which are supposedly people hired by news organisations or governments in order to create fake news stories and influence the public. But listen to what Rogan and Anderson say next.
When the very people that are calling it, the very people that have boots on the ground and that are in these war zones and calling these things, when they become cynical and they become jaded, that's when it gets really, really sketchy. And we rely so heavily on people like you. Like I'm not going over there.
Yeah.
Jamie's not going over there.
This is a great point. How are people supposed to know if what they're seeing on TV is true, if they're only hearing this information through a distant and untrustworthy source? Rogan goes on to admit that he doesn't know who to believe.